Good morning, everyone. Just to let you know, we are recording this webinar. When we started thinking about this webinar, first of all, my name is Sahar, and I am a diversity, inclusion, and leadership coach and speaker. So, and I do a lot of webinars like this ones. And Akilah, I met Akilah a few months ago, almost a year ago. And I have always been very impressed with her, the way she thinks, her education and the way she presents herself. So we were going through the pandemic, and whatever overwhelm and anxiety that we are all going through, and where people needed some calmness and some mindfulness that she's going to talk about today. And we needed to overcome all that anxiety and overwhelm that we all are going through. And then whatever happened with George Floyd just happened. And we realized that maybe that we need to pivot what we're doing, that being part of what is going on, we're gonna kind of touch on it, because now more than ever, we are feeling so much instability inside of us and more of anxiety and overwhelm. So actually Akilah made a pivot, and she said that let's talk about mindfulness, because if we want to be part of the change, we need to take care of ourselves first. Self-care becomes very obvious, and this is something that where we need to start. So I want to present you Dr. Akilah Reynolds, a brilliant young psychologist and therapist. I believe in her so much, and I love everything she does. And that's why we combine forces on what to do today. So without further ado, I'm gonna move hosting to Akilah so she can get hold of the screen. And Akilah, please introduce yourself as well the minute I do that. So I'm making you a host. Okay, Akilah, you are a host.
You got to unmute.
Yeah, you got to unmute yourself.
Okay, here I am. So today, like Sahar said, when we first thought about this webinar, it was really about finding peace in the present moment, given the pandemic, and that we have all been indoors for several months, and all the uncertainty that comes with that, the stress, the anxiety about your health, and also for some people about economic insecurity and maybe unemployment, given so many people have lost their jobs. So this was originally intended to be a guide for how you can live mindfully during the pandemic. And I understand that mindfulness is a term that we throw around, and many people, it's hard to really understand what that is. But given the last week with the death or the murder of George Floyd, and then all the protests and sort of the civil unrest that's happening right now, I think someone's trying to come in here. Let me admit them. Okay, sorry about that. It just felt like we needed to also talk about what's going on right here and right now. I live in Los Angeles, and I've heard helicopters and pops outside of my window all night. And I imagine that wherever you are, you're experiencing to some degree what's going on. So let me move into the topics of this presentation. I'll start off by sort of giving us a chance to share any thoughts or feelings that we have around what's going on with the pandemic and also with the protests. And in addition to that, we'll go into what mindfulness is. So really breaking it down, the definition of mindfulness. And then the big piece of this, which is what I really want you to take away, is mindfulness exercises. I'll talk about 5 exercises that you can do throughout your daily life to be mindful. And the last piece is putting it all together and being able to build mindfulness in your daily life. Let me share a little bit about myself, but before I get to doing that, I hear the air conditioner going on, and so I imagine that you might hear it. So I'm gonna duck out so that it doesn't keep bothering us. 1 second, I'm so sorry. Okay. Like Sahar said, my name is Akilah Reynolds. I'm a psychologist, and I really, my whole purpose, I feel like, for being a psychologist is to help people transform their lives by promoting psychological health and wellness. I work every day at a medical center. I also do trainings with the local university and private practice. and provide mental health education and awareness, particularly for Black women, to help them understand what it means to be strong and redefine that in ways that are healthy. I see myself as a bridge connecting psychological science, health to the community. So to people, everyday people like you and like myself when I wasn't a psychologist. So before we get into this webinar, what I really want to say is that I'm going to be talking to you, but I also appreciate if we can have a dialogue. So there's a chat box. Feel free to type in comments or messages there, and feel free to speak out loud and unmute yourselves. I love this quote, and I like starting out all of my talks with quotes. So this is, life is available only in the present moment. And the extension of that quote is, if you abandon the present moment, you cannot live moments of your life actively and more deeply. Can someone or anyone, can you share what that quote means to you, your understanding of it? Anything come up to you about what this quote means? Life is only available in the present moment.
This is Mike. I think that it means we have no day but today. The past is the past and the future isn't written yet. So be self-aware.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Mike. And a lot of times when we're feeling things like anxiety or like stress, what's happening, or even sadness or depression, what's happening is that we're not in our present moment. We're maybe thinking so much about what's going to happen in the future, about the uncertainty of the future, or thinking about things that happened in the past that we really can't change. But for some reason, they're on our minds over and over and over again. And so this quote really speaks to what mindfulness is. It's about living currently in the present moment. And the reason why that's important is because it can really help us feel more calm and de-stress ourselves. This is a moment that I want to ground us. So I know some people came in feeling maybe anxious or worried, or a lot of different emotions given what's been happening in the last week. I know my sleep was disturbed today and I woke up feeling anxious. So I want to get into sort of a mindful practice of really just taking a beat. So for you right now, wherever you're at in your homes, just check in with yourself. How are you feeling? And what are some thoughts that are going through your mind? Feel free to speak them out. Feel free to put them in the chat box, or just, feel free to think about them on your own. Just check in with your body. Do you have any tension, any aches anywhere? Check in with your mind. What kind of thoughts are coming in? And now that you've done that, I just want you to breathe. Take a real deep breath through your nose and then let it out. Take a deep breath in and then a slow breath out. What was your initial reaction to the pandemic? And because we're doing a little bit of a pivot, what was your initial reaction to the police brutality that you saw, to the protests, to the social unrest that's going on? Please share.
I'll share really quick, Akilah. When the pandemic started, I felt, oh my God, we're gonna die. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, my primal brain kicked in. And it's like survival. What are we gonna do? What do we need? Do we have enough food in the fridge? Do we have enough Tylenol? Do we have enough Advil? Do we have enough whatever? And then that took probably a day or two. And then I started calming down and finding out, okay, what can I do to help others? Obviously I have some background where I can help someone. And I started calming down from there. I started even more, I do meditation, and it wasn't regularly every day, but now I do it every day to calm my monkey brain. About police brutality, it just like, I felt like I was, in the beginning, I was kind of floating. I don't know how to explain that. Like I didn't want to connect with the reality of what was going on. So I was kind of floating, but it hit me the last couple of days, specifically this morning, when I woke up and I was just ready to cry. Though I didn't feel like that yesterday, but today, it just like, till now, I still feel tears going back and forth in my eyes. I keep feeling that feeling of Floyd last minutes in life. I don't know if I can explain that. And it just hits me right here in the chest. You know, like I feel that tightness and that helplessness that he was going through. You know? So, okay.
Thank you for sharing that, Sahar. And I see that some people shared on the chat box of feelings of confusion and overwhelm regarding the pandemic, not wanting to see what's going on. But also I see some people, Brenda and Mike, talking about gratitude that maybe they felt, or empathy and compassion for others. A lot of fear and insecurity. So I appreciate everyone for sharing, and I think my sentiments are similar to yours. There's a lot of just different confusions and a lot of varying emotions day to day depending on what's going on. These are some common stress reactions. So, you know, stress is sort of a normal part of our everyday life, but when we go through these types of big stressors, particularly for prolonged periods of time like the pandemic, we're probably on like maybe week 11 at this point. And then with the death, we've seen so many deaths over the years. And in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, and now this one. And it seems like this is just sort of, people are tired and just maybe helpless. And so I want to highlight that whatever the feelings that you have are experiencing, they're normal, they're natural, they're okay. And I would encourage you to sort of tap in to sort of identify what it is that you're actually feeling and how it's impacting you. This next slide is really to just hone in on how these experiences of stress impact our bodies in different ways. So for some people, your thoughts or your cognitions may be impacted. You might have racing thoughts, like your thoughts are popping off fast, fast, fast. You can't really get them thinking straight. And for some people, you might struggle with concentration, memory, just really can't think. In terms of your feelings, both physiologically and emotional feelings, you might be feeling anxious, stressed, sad even, grief, loss. And in terms of your physical body, you might feel fatigued, you might feel tired, you might feel drained. The last piece of this is behavior. So these are all, our bodies are all connected in this particular way. And so in terms of how you might be behaving, some people might be engaging in more aggressive behaviors, maybe more agitated, irritable, or maybe engaging in sort of excessive or maybe unhealthy coping, like eating a little bit more than normal, or maybe drinking a little bit more than normal. And so this slide is really to get you thinking about, how is this really impacting my life? What do I see changing? What do I see that I feel like is a little bit uncomfortable, something that I might want to address? I'm about to get into what mindfulness is, but I really wanted to pull you in based on what the benefits are. So if you're feeling any of those things, and if you've been feeling that for weeks on end now, mindfulness is a benefit because it can really help reduce those emotions that are uncomfortable and stressful. It can reduce the experience of anxiety, it can reduce the experience of stress. One of the things that happens particularly when you feel sad or depressed, is that you often ruminate, which is thinking over and over and over and over again about something that really you can't necessarily control, or you might be obsessively thinking about something that you don't want to happen in the future. And so what mindfulness does is, because it's about the present moment, you're not able to ruminate about what happened in the past or what might be happening in the future. It can also help improve your memory, your concentration, your processing speed. It'll help you manage your emotions, which can probably be helpful in having better relationship satisfaction and engaging appropriately with people, and just really increase your resiliency and your ability to adapt to stress. So without further ado, let's get into what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is all about paying attention on purpose. Sometimes when you feel stressed or anxious or depressed even, your attention is all over the place. So what mindfulness does is it reminds you, and it gives you the power, the ability to really focus your attention on what it is that you want to focus on in the present moment. So not focusing on what happened yesterday, not focusing on what happened even earlier today, focusing on what's happening right here and right now. So as you're in this meeting right now, is about being focused right now without judgment. And this piece about being without judgment is really important, because what it does is it focuses on the idea of acceptance. Sometimes there are certain things and certain stressors that we don't want to happen, but they are really just out of our control. We don't have control over everything, and that can really produce a lot of uncomfortable emotions like anxiety and like depression. But what mindfulness does is whatever is happening right here, right now, whatever thoughts that are going on, whatever feelings I have, I'm not going to put a judgment on that. I'm going to accept that this is what is right now. How do we practice mindfulness? So wherever you are, I would appreciate if you can get somewhere comfortable, because we're about to move into the demonstration phase of the presentation. And I really want you to be able to fully engage. So I'm sitting on the floor. If you feel comfortable, sit on the floor or on the couch, or just sit comfortably wherever you are. But one of the biggest pieces of mindfulness is all about your breathing. If we are alive, we have breath, and our breath is powerful, and it's a natural way to really reduce our anxiety and calm ourselves down. So I want to demonstrate how we can engage in deep breathing in a way that can help bring us a sense of safety and calm. So sit up, and maybe what you'll do is put your hand on your chest and your other hand on your belly, and this will really help you to determine how you're going to breathe. The way that I want us to breathe today, and remember, these are all suggestions, so please do what's comfortable and feels well with you, but I'll give you some suggestions on how to do this. You'll take a really slow and deep breathe in through your nose like this. And as you're breathing, what you're going to want to do is feel that hand that's on your stomach, that should be expanding, because what you're going to do is breathe deeply into your belly. And then you're going to breathe out through your mouth and make a sound like, and then you're going to breathe deeply again through your nose, filling your belly up like a balloon and pausing and breathing out. One of the ways that I like to remind people to engage in deep breathing is called 4-square breathing. I like it because it's easy to remember. What that means is breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. So breathe in slowly for 4 seconds, count off to your mind. And then what you're going to do is pause. If you can pause for 4 seconds, do that. Some people maybe only 2 or 3, but just pause for a couple of seconds. And then you're going to breathe out through your mouth, what we just did, again for another 4 seconds. And then you're going to pause again. And then you're going to cycle all over again. So I want us to do this for about 60 seconds, and I want you to see how this feels to you. I'm going to put a timer on my phone, and I'm going to sort of dictate and call out to you deep breathing. And just take a moment, close your eyes, look down to the floor, get really comfortable, and do some deep breathing with me for 60 seconds, and let's see how that feels to you. So take a deep breath in through your nose slowly. 2, 3, 4, and I want you to pause for 2, 3, 4, and breathe out slowly. 2, 3, 4, and pause again. 2, 3, 4, and keep doing that deep breathing in through your nose and pausing, and a deep breath out through your mouth, pausing, and keep breathing in. 2, 3, 4, and pause. 2, 3, 4. And as you're breathing out, just breathe out all the stress, breathe out all the anxiety, breathe out all the sirens that you may hear, breathe out all of the stuff that's going on, and take a pause. And as you breathe in, you might add a word like calm or peace. And let's cycle that one more time. Take a deep breath in through your nose. 2, 3, 4, and slowly pause and take a deep breath out. 2. How does that feel? Good, Mike? Okay. So the reason why I started with deep breathing is because this is sort of the foundation really of mindfulness and stress management. I see that Lena feels more awake, very relaxing and comforting. So we just did that for about 60 seconds, and you already are starting to feel relaxed and more comfortable. So I think what I'm hoping that this does is shows you the power of something as simple as breathing that we were all born with that ability to do. And no matter where you are in the world, even if you're at a protest, you can take a moment and breathe. The Next part is a mindful meditation. So I'm going to add a meditation to the breathing that we just did. And the whole idea is picking sort of a place and a time where it's sort of little distraction, sitting comfortably somewhere, either on the floor or on sort of a cushion, straightening your back to the point where you're straight, but not too stiff. You still want to feel comfortable. Let your chin drop slightly and sort of just gaze downward or close your eyes. And if you're in a chair, make sure you put your feet to the ground. Just sort of stay grounded. If you're sitting down, cross your legs on the floor and just let your arms sort of rest on your knees or on your thighs. And the beginning of this meditation is really all about being comfortable, being alert, and really just focusing first on your breathing. We're going to begin this by practicing a body scan, going through your body and bringing your awareness to your physical sensations. What you can do is start by tuning into the crown of your head. I want you to gently bring your awareness to the top of your head and tune into whatever it is that you're experiencing. Remember, there is no right, there is no wrong. It is all about tuning into whatever is physically present for you at the top of your head right now. Then you're going to drop down into the forehead and into your brows. Again, tuning into whatever is present for you in those areas of your body. You may notice how air feels on your skin. You may notice any tension or scrunching of your brows. Or perhaps because we just did deep breathing, you might actually notice some relaxation. Whatever is present, just simply be in tune with it. And continue to be in tune with your eyes, where you might notice some movement, even if your eyes are closed. Just pay attention. Now move your attention to the tip of your nose, your nostrils, and your upper lips. Here you may feel your body breathing, and just be with the inhale and the exhale without any judgment. Drop your attention to the mouth. Tune into your jaws, tune into your lips, and then your tongue. You may notice the moisture, how the tongue is resting. Any sensation, any tensions, any slack in your jaws, whatever is present, don't judge it, just notice it. Drop down to your neck, to your throat. Notice any tension or any movement of your body with your breath. Remember, there is nothing you should be experiencing. There is really no right or no wrong. The whole idea is just being in tune with your direct physical experience. Letting go of all the judgments, letting go of all the thoughts, and being in tune with your actual physical body. You can move now to the top of your shoulders and into your shoulder blades, perhaps noticing any movement with your breath or the sensation of your clothes or your body. Dropping down into your upper arms and your elbows. Again, just tune into whatever is directly experiencing right now in the present. Continue down into the forearms and the wrists, perhaps noticing any points of contact. Maybe you might be resting your arms on your laps. Maybe you might be resting your arms on your chair. Wherever your arms are resting, just notice how that feels. Move down to your hands. Go over your palms and your fingers and back to your back, of the back of your hand. Notice where your hands might be touching. Maybe they're touching each other. Maybe they're just rested on your lap. Notice how the temperature feels. Notice any sweat on your palm. And then I want you to come back into your chest and rest here for the moment. Tune into your body breathing and notice the rising and the falling, the expansion and the contraction. Notice the natural movement of the body breathing into itself. And just sit here deeply. Sit here for a moment, breathing into your chest. As you drop down your attention to the abdomen and to your stomach, again, notice whatever sensations are going on and rest your awareness with your body. Stick with whatever the sensations that you're feeling arise. Drop down into your hips and the pelvis and the butt. You can probably feel the point of contact wherever your body meets the chair or the cushion, and take a moment to really just experience what that sensation feels like. Move down to your thighs and to your knees. Are they touching the floor or the cushion? Do you feel any tension? What do your clothes feel like on your body? Is there anything else present? Keep dropping your attention down to your calves and your shins, your ankles. And finally, move to your feet, going over your heels and the arch of your arm, the balls of your feet, your toes, the top of your feet. Tune into whatever it is that you're experiencing. Now take a moment here at the end to really tune into your entire whole body, all the way from your head down to your toe. You may be able to feel the breath of your energy as it moves down all the way through your body. Just keep breathing in and out for a few moments. And we'll begin soon by opening up your awareness, beginning with your body. Just rest here for a moment though, in the present time. Notice any sensations that come to your attention. If something comes up, don't judge it, just tune in. Notice it and continue to focus your attention back to your breath. The power of focusing your attention all lies in just focusing it back into your breath. Whatever thoughts come in, just notice them like a cloud passing by. There's that thought again, and bring your attention back to your breath. And now we're going to transition. So you're going to bring your attention back to the present webinar, to our meeting. What's that like for you all? How are you feeling now?
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, it was different, and I actually did it, and it felt pretty good. I'm like, okay, it was nice.
Yeah, and just so you know, sometimes this can be really hard to do, especially if you're not used to doing it. And I oftentimes, even when I'm doing this, sometimes my mind wanders all over the place. So if your mind does that and you start to have thoughts or just even uncomfortable feelings, that's all a part of it, and it's really okay. Just notice your thoughts and try to see them as clouds kind of detached from you, like clouds just passing by. Whatever that thought is, just let it go. You might just say to yourself, oh, there's that thought again. And if you're struggling with your attention, just try to focus on your breath, but don't overjudge or don't overthink. So we're going to move to another mindfulness exercise, and this is all about using your 5 senses. So one of the things that you can do if you're not able to really just take a meditation, like take 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes out of your day, maybe you're at work, maybe you're driving, maybe you're walking and you can't like meditate, what you can do to sort of be more mindful. And I think what this does is really help you enjoy the moments that you're in, even right now. Use your 5 senses. The 5 senses that you have are really the things that can help you focus and pay attention in the moment. So your sense of sight, your sense of touch, your sense of hearing, smell, and taste. What I would encourage you to do is if you're feeling uncomfortable or your mind is going everywhere and you're struggling with that, do the 5 senses by like grounding yourself in the present moment. I think someone, if I can hear you, can you maybe mute your background? Also, I want to say that 5 senses can be helpful because sometimes our emotions are really, really intense. And I know often psychologists and therapists want you to get in touch with your emotions, but sometimes when you're feeling so intense and maybe out of control, the best thing that you can do is actually focus on the present and bring yourself outside of your body and outside of your emotions. Thank you, Elena. How can let me try to mute everyone.
Akilah, it's in the bottom where the chat is. Yeah, right where the chat is.
I am not good at.
If you see the participants list at the bottom of the participants list,
you can mute it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Got it. Can you guys hear me though? Can you still hear? Okay, awesome. Okay. So what I want you to do right now is practice this mindfulness activity. I want you to type out or name 5 things that you can see in your environment and really focus on like the details. So if I was doing this, I would scan my room and I would say, oh, I see that box over there sitting in the corner with some writing on it. I see a picture frame. I see this pillow right here. I see this cord, and I see a water bottle right here. So pick out 5 things in the room that you can see. And once you've done that, I want you to pick out 4 things in the room that you can touch and actually touch them. So touch your clothing. Notice how that feels on your skin. Maybe I'm gonna touch this pillow. Notice what that feels like. I really want to touch this fuzzy pillow because I love fuzzy stuff, so I'm going to touch that. And then I'm going to touch this cord and notice how it feels. Now we're going to move on to your sense of hearing. Focus on the room and pick out 3 things that you can hear. I hear some construction outside. I hear my refrigerator. And oddly, I hear like silence. That's not really a thing, but the sensation of silence comes up. And then 2 things that you can smell. So I might smell my shirt. I might smell this pillow. If you had a fragrance or lotion, just pick out those things. And then 1 thing that you can taste. So if you just ate something, what's that taste sensation? What does that feel like? And the reason why using your 5 senses can be helpful is because wherever you are, if you just need to calm yourself down, if you focus on the room, that can help you be in the here and now. And now I want to move to something that's exciting in the interest of time, and that's about mindful eating. So take a moment as I talk to you about mindful eating and what it is. If you can go quickly grab something like a snack, like an almond or a piece of chocolate, something small that you might be able to enjoy with us right now, or even water if that's going to be helpful to you. Just pick out something.
Akilah, while everyone is getting something for the exercise, when you go for the 5 senses, I do that every morning with my cup of coffee. So, you know, I see it, I touch it, so I feel the warmth, I smell it, you know, and I taste it. And believe it or not, I hear myself drinking it, you know, you know, so that's the best thing I start my day with.
And I appreciate you saying that, because that's also kind of ties into mindful eating as well, because it's all about slowing yourself down and being extremely mindful and attentive to what it is that you're doing. And you can do this with any activity. Particularly, I want to highlight eating, because it's something that we do every day. And I'm guilty of, like, when I eat, I kind of just quickly scarf things down. I'm watching TV while I'm doing it. And so what I would suggest in terms of mindful eating is really making eating a thing for you. So turning off the TV, thanks to my dad, who never let us watch TV while we ate dinner together. And sitting like at a table or sitting somewhere that can cue you that it's time for me to eat right now, and I really need to pay attention to that. And so when you're mindful eating, exactly like Sahar said, you're using the 5 senses, which is why I went through that activity first, because you're going to use all of your senses to really engage with eating. So it's not just about the taste of it and eating it. It's really about focusing and taking in the act of eating. And what you might find is that if you slow down your eating and you do some of this mindful eating, you might actually eat less, because you're really focusing on your bodily cues. So I want you to take a moment, whatever it is that you're eating, with that, whatever snack it is that you have, and I have an almond here, and just for a second, sort of take a deep breath in and really try to focus and pay attention to your body. So that body scan that we did earlier during the meditation can really be helpful to this, because I want you to just cue into the sensations that you're feeling, and even note if you're even hungry. Do you actually even feel hungry? Because sometimes we have this desire to eat and we may actually be bored or angry or upset or sad or anxious. So if you're going to mindfully eat, one of the things you can do is really be mindful of what's going on in your body. Are you actually hungry? Now, you may not be hungry right now, but I still want us to do this exercise. So just take a moment and look at whatever it is you're eating. Really look at it and notice what you see. I see a little ridge right here. The almond that I see is sort of a camel color, 2 different sort of camel colors. I see a dark little spot right here, and all these ridges in this almond. And then I'm going to sort of touch it, put it in my hand. So if you have a cup, you might just touch the outside of the cup, and really just see what it feels like, the sensation. Like Sahar said, take a whiff of it, smell it. If it's coffee, what does that smell like? And really savor the smell, because oftentimes our food smells good, and that really feels good to us. And that can help us really enjoy even the moment if we just take a whiff of it. Again, if you want to sort of hear it, I don't know, but Sahar focuses a lot by just sipping and hearing, so you can do that. And start to put it in your mouth. But before you chew it, swish it around your mouth. Let it touch your tongue or the roof of your mouth and see what it feels like. If you are sipping liquid, then just sort of sip it, but like really slowly sip it and appreciate it. And start chewing it slowly. And as you slowly chew it, notice what it tastes like. And really just savor it. So that was sort of a quick mindful eating exercise. And I want to check in with you about what you feel or what you experience with that exercise, or just your own examples of mindful eating that you've done in the past.
Well, I have a tendency to eat fast.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because there are times when I'm like eating for enjoyment. One would be like if I eat dark chocolate, I put peanut butter on it. It's like I make my own peanut butter cups.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm doing that, it's like I'll eat extra slow.
Mm-hmm.
And literally I'm just focusing on that, but it's like, during the day, a lot of times, especially, you know, with the protein shake, it's just like, you know, that kind of thing. But also just the knowledge that if you are really keying in on your eating, you probably are going to eat less.
Yeah.
And especially with the, you know, digestion takes time. The signals take time, you know, to get, you know, from your body to your brain. So, you know, oh, I'm actually full.
Exactly, Steve. I appreciate you for sharing that. And I have the same experience. Like, I have a sweet tooth, but unfortunately, I often eat really fast. And the times that I actually slow down and eat slowly, I enjoy it a lot more. And I find that I don't sort of binge the food. And Erica just said that it happens with the raisin as well. So we're going to move on to the last. Sorry, did someone else want to say something?
Yeah, this is Marvin. I notice usually I eat fast also. And because we pack so much into our day, you're going from one thing to another. And so you're trying to get that list taken care of. But I noticed when I was eating slowly here, like it just slid down my throat. It was in my mouth. I savored it for a few seconds, and then it slid down my throat. And what actually happens is that you feel, it's almost like you feel the nutrients in what you're eating. And there's that sensation of, oh, that feels good, it tastes good, but also there's a little bit of energy that comes from it. And so I think someone made the observation that when you don't eat as fast, you eat less, which is better physically for your body.
Yeah. And one of the things I want to point that you said is we pack so much in our day that we're constantly moving from one thing to the other. So mindful eating is one of the ways that you can kind of slow yourself down. And also there are so many other activities that we can do mindfully in our everyday life to really just slow ourselves down. And that might even help us be more productive because we're being able to be more attentive to doing each thing that we're doing. This might also include like mindful walking or mindful commuting to work, but we can talk about that a little bit later. With just a couple of minutes left, I want to get to the last activity. I'm going to sort of abbreviate it just to give you an idea of what it is, and then you can go home and do it on your own. And then we're going to move into the last piece, which is each of you coming up with 3 mindful activities that you're going to do in your daily life this week. So the next and last one is progressive muscle relaxation. The whole idea is really about bringing attention and awareness to your body and the tenseness that you might feel. Progressive muscle relaxation can help you reduce stress and anxiety, the physical experience of stress and anxiety in your body by tensing up your muscles and then relaxing them. And if you do this, you might feel some sort of immediate release or relaxation. And also note that much like anything, practice kind of really helps. And so you wouldn't play, be a basketball player and just go and play the game and win a championship. You have to practice doing this. So with progressive muscle relaxation, it's really important, and really with all the mindfulness activities, it's important to build these into your everyday life and practice them when you're not even feeling stressed, so that when you do feel stressed, you're better able to use them like game time, the switch is on. So let's just sort of quickly do a progressive muscle relaxation. And I guess me saying quickly is a little counterintuitive, so I want to highlight that. I just realized that. But let's take a moment to become aware of our sensations that are going on through our body so that we can really begin relaxing our muscles. So do you feel any tenseness in your body? And if you do, where at do you feel that tenseness? You can close your eyes if you like, or just sort of look down, just get kind of comfortable and start by, we're going to start with our hands. Just pretend that you're like squeezing an orange or something. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it for 5 seconds, and then we're going to let go. So each part of our body that we're going to do this with, you're going to squeeze 5 seconds and then let go, and notice how your body feels physically after you do this. So let's start with our hands. What I want you to do is squeeze your hands for 5 seconds, 1, 2, as hard as you can, and then let go. Squeeze it again. and then let go. Let's maybe even do our face. So scrunch up your face for 5 seconds. Make a really ugly face, a really, really one. And then let it go. Do it again. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And let it go. What other parts of your body do you feel tense? I'm gonna let you sort of play with it yourself. But for me, I'm gonna do my shoulders because I feel the tension right here. So I'm gonna squeeze, 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 really, 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 really. And then I'm gonna let it go. Because I really liked how that feels, I'm gonna do this one more time. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then let it go. I'm also gonna squeeze my thighs because I feel some tension there. So I'm gonna squeeze, 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 squeeze. And let it go. And then I'm gonna do my feet. I'm gonna scrunch them up. I scrunch my toes, squeeze them really hard, tight, 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 tight. And let it go. So if you have more time, what you can do is really squeeze through from the head all the way down to your toes. And sometimes, even if you're quickly going through your day and you don't have a lot of time, just take a couple of seconds, even a minute, to squeeze parts of your body and let that tension go. I see that Erica said that felt great and didn't even know how much she was holding in your shoulders. And I appreciate you saying that, Erica, because one of the things that we may not even notice how much our body holds the stress in our feelings. Our body keeps the score, even if we're not aware of that. And so being good to our bodies in this ways can be really important. Does anyone want to share anything about that activity? Okay, let's get into the last part, and this is all the fun. It's about building mindfulness into your daily life. So I want you to think about the different activities that we did today. And then I also want you to think about other activities that you do in your normal everyday life that you do quickly. So for me, that includes commuting to work. When I commute to work, I am trying to get through LA traffic. I'm often annoyed. I just want to get where I'm going, and I'm leaving in and out of cars. I would do that differently if I'm trying to do that mindfully. And that is simply by just slowing down and noticing. So for me, I would use my 5 senses, and I would, look around at what I can see. I would really actually appreciate that LA is a beautiful place. For those of you who are in the Bay Area, also a beautiful place. You're right on the bay if you're driving down the 80, and you can see San Francisco in the water. If you're in LA, you might see the mountains over here. If you're close enough to the water, maybe driving by the PCH, you can see Santa Monica and Pacific Palisades, all beautiful. And wherever you are, there's beauty in wherever you're at. And so that's one of the ways that for me, I like to build mindfulness into my day. The other thing that I like to do is do mindful walking. So I enjoy just taking walks in my neighborhood and really noticing that. I have a friend who does these mindful walks, and he posts pictures online, really finding the beauty just in like sort of finding one plant or one tree and focusing the camera on that. And for me, that lets me know that he's kind of being mindful in that walk. So how can you live a mindful morning? What are some activities that you can do in the morning that can really help you feel more calm and at peace starting out your day?
Well, for me, I take a bath, just relaxing bath, do Bible study, reading, and prayer. That's for me in the morning.
And it helps you sort of slow down and get into your day. I see Steve journals, meditates, and works out. Keisha does yoga.
I've been doing morning Zoom like fellowship, every day.
Nice.
Prayer and fellowship.
And prayer is a great way to sort of be mindful. Sahar uses her 5 senses to do the coffee, and guided meditation. So one thing that I sometimes do is mindful meditation in the morning, and I do a guided meditation. So I listen to a podcast, which I love. Elena's going to try to be more mindful with the first thing that she drinks in the morning. Gratitude journaling is a great way, and that really helps you focus on what you appreciate about life. And also in the mornings, I'm gonna focus on having a better, like a more mindful commute and really appreciating where I live. What about in the afternoon? So for those of you who are leaving the house to go to work, or for those of you who are at home too, what can you do in the afternoon if you have a busy schedule and you have to get things done? What are some things that you can do mindfully, just to add a piece of mindfulness in the middle of the day?
Well, I'm working from home, so this might be a little bit easier for me, but I really wanted to try to be more mindful while doing maybe things I considered more mundane. So washing the dishes, like I have a yoga teacher who talks about how that has become a meditative practice for her, where it's just, she's very present, she's very focused on what she's doing. And I really like the idea of trying to make simple things like that I don't necessarily like doing, and helping it become a moment of calm and peace for me, and just like changing my perception of that act. So that's going to be my goal for this week.
I love that example, Elena. And there are so many tasks that we like have to do, daily tasks, dishes, sweeping, mopping, all those things we can do mindfully and really appreciate that moment.
The way you said square breathing, I've been doing something called equal breathing.
Can you share about that?
It's just 4, 4, 4,
Gotcha.
and then 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6. And so you
Oh,
start at 4 and you end at 8, you know, and
nice.
so you've doubled your breathing and slowed down. I don't know. That's the goal. So
I love that. I love that.
And someone said brushing your teeth while you're brushing your teeth. They said that to me the other day. Like, we get so into our head that you actually make sure you're brushing your teeth while you're brushing your teeth. I don't know. It's like a saying, but it helps you focus.
That makes sense, because sometimes we're like just trying to get it done, but actually like focusing on it and making sure we get all the areas. So for my afternoons, using my 5 senses, sometimes when I'm still going into the office. So if I'm at work, I might just take a moment to just pay attention to the room that I'm in and do some deep breathing. We have Brenda who exercises in the middle of the day, or Keisha goes outside for a bit. Erica has an afternoon snack mindfully. What about the evening? How can you, end your day mindfully?
So I have a whole practice that I started doing probably a month ago. And so before bed, I do 2 meditations. One is it's a Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's a quick meditation. It's like 6 minutes. And then I do an I am that I am. It was created as the frequency, the God frequency, whatever that means. I like it. I know that much, and that's the important thing. And so what I do is I put myself into the most grateful state that I possibly can. And then I even have like different movements that I do to anchor gratitude. And then when I come out of that, I write down grateful for today, and I go through my day. And I write down all the things that I'm grateful for from the day, which even if some obstacles came up, what that allows me to do, because I'm in gratitude, I'm able to reframe the experience into a positive instead of falling into that negative trap. And then when I finish that, I write down grateful for tomorrow, and I go through kind of like my to-do list for the next day. But because I'm in a grateful state, I'm able to really give thanks, even if it's like, I got to be on hold, trying to reach EDD or something like that.
Yeah. That's a great practice. I think gratitude is really, it kind of goes hand in hand with mindfulness and really appreciating each thing, no matter how big or small.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you can, I have on my list is mindful eating, progressive muscle relaxation. And for the last month as well, I've been finding that I've needed to do like mindful meditation with stretching at the end of the night. Because I've felt so activated, often particularly when I'm watching the news and watching what's going on, that for me, I end my day with that stretch just to relieve the tension in my body, as well as my meditation. So just remember that mindfulness is all about paying attention on purpose. So having control over where your attention goes and doing that in the present moment, accepting whatever is happening without judgment. Some things that might be helpful, particularly for right now, what's going on in this world, is unplug when you need to, disconnect from the internet, really be still and connect to the here and now, whatever it is that you're experiencing. Here are some resources that I find to be helpful. Headspace, if you're living in Los Angeles, or if you are a health provider, they're offering free Headspace Plus. UCLA has a mindfulness website that has a lot of mindfulness activities. Live Awake is my favorite meditation podcast. And then I've written 2 blogs if you need a little bit of walking me through of what mindfulness is. 2 blog posts if you go there about what mindfulness is and 3 ways to be mindful in your everyday life, including walking, including eating, and including also bathing, things that we have to do every day. I appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you well today and the rest of this month.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, doctor. That was awesome.
Thanks, Akilah. Akilah, can you put me back at the host?
Can I give you back the host?
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that.
You know, the 3 dots.
I see the 3 dots.
Yeah, and
make host. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to share that for the longest time, I would not take suggestion, and you know, I have to listen to Sahar and other people and take suggestion. But I finally broke down and didn't give into the conspiracy theory in my head that I was going to be tracked or something. Like, I finally got a Fitbit, and it helped me with my walking and my mindful eating, and they have the meditation, and I'm just, it was like a focus that I needed.
Yeah, my boyfriend has Fitbit and he swears by it now. I want one. So I appreciate you saying that. I think
It's not as daunting as I thought in my head.
Do you like to see like the graphs and stuff like that, all the information?
Well, yeah, I'm a nerd and I like that. That helps a lot, you know, but then after time, you don't need that as much.
Oh,
and it's just all of a sudden you're walking and you're eating the right way. I was going to say eating for me. I did a mindful eating thing right before my baby was born 9 months ago, because I thought, oh, I need to get ready and all those types of things. And it just honors your body more.
That's true.
Because you're like, someone said, Marvin, you're like eating the nutrients and you're careful about it. And all of a sudden you're being better to yourself, which is like self-love.
Exactly, self-care. Akilah, I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom with us today. I knew it was going to be good, but this is really, really, really good. So thank you.
Thank you.
And what I want you to know, guys, that I recorded, like I said, this webinar, and I'm going to edit the beginning, you know, and then I'm just going to put it in the Facebook group that I have, you know, and I'm going to also send the link to Akilah. So Akilah can put it on her website, on her YouTube channel, you know, in case, you know, I have some of you here that I see for the first time. So I'm very pleased to meet all of you. I have a Facebook group that is basically by invite only, and it's called ReInvent Yourself to Greatness. So this is what we do. I mean, Steve in the group, Mike in the group, Nani is in the group, Brenda is in the group. And this is what we do. We just like get together, and we started this right after the pandemic start. So we can be there for each other, where we support each other, where what I call we fix each other crown. I mean, either for a queen or for a king, you know, but we are just there to actually just support each other. There is no push, no sales, no nothing. It's just like we are there to help each other, specifically what we're going through right now. And this one of the reasons why we have been doing this webinars. Akilah, I can't thank you enough. You know, Akilah was present in another webinar that we have done with, that we were talking about the stress and the overwhelm and all that. On Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 10 a.m., we have a regular weekly webinar that's called AMA, or Ask Me Anything. You're more than welcome to attend. There is no obligation. There is nothing about it. It's just like, we are there again just to support each other. So Akilah, can you share again, how can someone get hold of you, please?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's at Dr. Akilah, which is Dr.Akilah. And then my website, which I'll be changing it soon, Sahar, because I think it's hard to remember.
Yeah,
but for
right.
now,
We'll be talking about that.
Yeah, but for now, it's RPCS. So like Reynolds Psychological Consulting Services, well.com. That's RPCSwell, WELL.com. And really just I have a blog on that page where I have posts and videos, and then also on Instagram, I have posts and videos, and would love to connect with you there.
Yeah, she's very active on Instagram, and I love what she has been putting on Instagram. The last couple of days, we have been swapping stories and swapping posts. So if you want to get hold of me, also my Instagram is ReInvent Yourself with Sahar, Sahar. Beautiful people, thank you so much for being here. I'm really happy that I met all of you today, that those that I met for the first time, and for my tribe, for my reinventors, it's really good to see you here again. I hope this was a great help. I wish you all peace and calmness. And I just want to ask you for one thing, just be you. You know that people sometimes act in a way where they don't realize what they're saying. So have that, because we know better, we need to have that space in our heart and empathy for them and try to take them to a better place. Whatever is going on is very hard right now. So we need to start with ourselves, but at the same time, we need to start standing for what we believe in and to be the voice for those that cannot have a voice. And it's not about, it has nothing to do with being political. It has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with us being human beings and accepting each other for who we are and not who we want people to be. We cannot box people. We cannot think that they should or would do that. That's where judgment comes in. And so practicing mindfulness where we are not judging is actually what we should do. So please value people for who they are, not who we want them to be. Our beauty lies in our differences. And we can make a whole difference in the world just by having our differences. Thank you so much, beautiful people. Have a great day and a peaceful day and a safe day. Bye.
Thank you.